All right, welcome back to Bleck and AZ's Fantasy Hour. Bleck is back in the building.
Here I am.
We made it. We're back. Before we enter this week's episode, I just always want to start it off by mentioning we are on WEBR Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 and on WLVL Sunday mornings from 11 to 12, as well as our YouTube channel, Bleck and AZ's Fantasy Hour, and on Instagram as well, Bleck and AZ. Post a lot more content on there, and you can see any recaps on there as well. This week's episode, we will be talking about something fun, some futures bets. Yeah, we're going to be talking about some of the lines for some player props, stat leaders. I have some division winners and some other things like that written down with some odds on there. We're going to be going over what we like going into the season.
Yeah, stoked on it. It's something, slowly, really can't stop the machine that is putting in all kinds of bets any times of the year. Yeah. But it's been fun to get a little bit more involved in some of the futures bets. Just having something that you kind of keep your eye on the whole ride, but you really can't participate much with it outside of what you decide to do now.
I love futures bets. I always put a
fun.
bunch in during the off season. I think it's really where you can get an edge against some of the odds makers.
Yeah.
It's really hard for them to set total lines for the season, just given all the different variables, whether it's injuries or you never know how schedules are going to play out. You could look at a team and say they have a hard schedule, but halfway through the year, you're looking back and all of a sudden they had one of the easiest schedules because things can change so quickly.
Yeah.
And it just gives you an edge, I think.
For sure.
And it's a lot harder for the odds makers to project certain players and scenarios given, offensive coordinator changes or role changes or things like that. And I think too, from a fantasy perspective, it's kind of just and for me, just when I'm looking over some of these things and seeing how Vegas projects some of these players' lines and how it correlates to these players' draft positions. For example, looking at something like Brian Thomas Jr. and Parker Washington, and seeing that Parker Washington actually has a higher line than Brian Thomas Jr., whereas Brian Thomas is the much bigger name, and you'll probably see him go a lot earlier in drafts.
Sure.
I think stuff like that's really interesting and says a lot about those players.
Yeah, no, definitely. And a lot of it, you can see how there are definitely some patterns in it. And then, where you find those outliers where things don't necessarily add up is where you can either, get an edge in your league or get an edge on the books. And it's fun to look through.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, no, it's funny to kind of see where those all come up from. And who knows what kind of math and algorithm numbers they're jumping through to make those lines happen. But they do. And then at the end of the year when you got your guy over 859.5 yards and he has 857 yards and you're wondering how does Vegas do it? We don't know, but they do. But they do every time.
So what kind of futures bets do you prefer to make? Because obviously, we mentioned that you can make player props, whether that's milestones or stat leaders. Obviously, divisions, make playoffs, miss playoffs. There's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I usually do a division winner one. That one's always fun and it keeps things interesting throughout the year, and it usually comes down to the wire. It gives me a lot of different rooting interest for some of that last month of the season.
For sure.
I tend to do that pretty much every single year. I'll pick 4 or 5 division winners, and you can usually get pretty juicy odds on those as well.
Yeah.
But I do player props too. Usually I'll do milestones, 1,000 yards, or maybe the double-digit touchdowns, something like that.
Yeah.
I also like doing the stat leaders, who's going to lead the league in certain stats. That's always a fun one to root for as well. And then I'll do some typical over-unders, just kind of keep it simple.
Yeah. No, I typically like the milestone ones for sure. Be it receiving yards and rushing touchdowns specifically are kind of the ones that I like to do the most. But after looking through just some of the stat leaders, I think that this year might be the first for me where I find it worthwhile to budget a block and maybe sprinkle a couple different options, because some names are just way lower than I think they should be, and even just to catch some value, maybe catch a cash out at some point in the year.
Yeah.
It's worth doing. It's kind of like a stock market in its own way that way.
Definitely, there's some of the I don't often put bets in hoping to
with the intention of cashing out.
Yeah, exactly. But
neither do I.
With the futures, you definitely can.
Yeah.
Something I wrote down was the Rams Super Bowl plus 550 right now.
To win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, to win the Super Bowl.
That seems pretty low.
It's the second highest team is the Bills, and they're 1,000. Do you know what I mean? But if at some point in the offseason, some of these books are going to give you some type of futures boost. You know what I mean? They just there's going to be a lull, and they're going to have to give you something just to get you excited, probably in the next month or so. And when they give me a futures boost, I'm probably going to throw that on, like something like the Rams. And I don't know if the Rams are the favorite, and they should be. But that's a team I expect to make the NFC Championship game at a minimum. You know what I mean? Yeah. And just them making it there is going to give me a cash out. You know?
Yeah. Or a hedge or something.
Would I cash it out? Probably not. But I know that I'm going to get one. You know what I mean? And it's just barring any crazy amount of injuries, that team is going to go far. I mean, they were in the NFC Championship game last year, and they just added Trent McDuffie and Myles Garrett and
Trent McDuffie.
Yeah.
How do they even have picks to do that?
I don't know how they have cap space to do stuff like that, to be honest with you. But yeah, they do, and they'll probably be they'll be there.
Yeah,
they will be there.
Yeah.
But that's just a good example of kind of just looking ahead and just betting with, knowing that you're gonna get some good value there in the long run for sure.
Yeah. I like your next one because that's literally a full season sweat no matter what.
Actually, dude, could you pull up? So I have the Cardinals under 3.5 wins at plus 110, but I also have them under 4.5 at minus 190 just because. But look at the Cardinals schedule. I was looking at it, and I think their first they could literally go 0-10 and then hit their bye week, and then they play the Jets after their bye week. It's crazy what their schedule is.
You got it right here.
Yeah, let's see. We got in LA, Seattle, in San Fran, in New York, in New York against the Giants. That's their easiest game in the first 13 weeks, and that's not even a game I would expect them to win.
Yeah.
Detroit, Rams, Denver, Cowboys, Seattle, Rams, Chiefs, Washington, Philly. That's a crazy run to start the year, and then they have their bye, and then they get the Jets at home. That might be their first win, maybe. And then they play in New Orleans, and then they play the Raiders, and then they play San Fran. So unless they win out after their bye, I don't really see this happening.
Yeah, you could sell me on maybe a fluky win in their first 11 games and losing the Jets game, first 10 or whatever, and losing the Jets game. But yeah, 2 seems to be the most.
I mean, under 4.5 at minus 190. I don't really bet stuff like that very often, but I just don't see them winning 5 games.
No.
There's just no way that team wins 5 games.
Yeah.
I think that is actually free money.
Yeah, that's underpriced.
Yeah, 100%. There's just no way. So that's just that's something I probably won't even really sprinkle too much on. But
yeah,
I just think if you're out there listening and you're a big bettor and you're looking for a sharp play, throw 1,000 Bleck units on under 4.5 and.
$19 to win 10. Free money.
Money is money. So yeah, but yeah, that's a fun one for sure.
Yeah, no, that one's definitely fun. Every time we bring them up, I'm eager to bring up that 3.5 line because it's
crazy
to be plus money at all is.
I knew that was it, and then I didn't really look at their schedule, and then I actually sat down and looked at their schedule this morning, and I was like, dude, who are they beating? Jets at home after the bye is, I don't even know if they're favorited, but if there's any game that they would be favorited in, it's that one, and that's it. Seriously.
Yeah.
It's an insane schedule.
Yeah.
It's all contenders. It's crazy. I mean, they play in that tough division, so that plays a big factor, obviously. But yeah, wow.
Yeah, no.
Brutal run for the Cardinals. You are not going to enjoy this season as a Cardinals
fan.
fan.
Before they even put up.
Just watch some Texas games. Watch Arch Manning. Don't even watch the Cardinals.
Moving on to a couple divisions that you got down. I know that I've already put in a few divisions for the season ahead, but that's also generally a market I don't usually dabble too much with because I feel like there's the most volatility with injury that could really change some of those lines for better or for worse, and I just kind of like to wait on it a little bit. But I do have a couple plays, but I'm interested to hear yours first.
Yeah, I got the Bills minus 125. I just think that they take the division back this year for sure.
Yeah.
I don't really think I need to go too deep into that. If they're one of the biggest favorites of any team to win their division, and that at minus 125 because of the volatility, like you said. But moving into the Texans, they're at plus 110, and they're a team that I really like to win that division. And especially, like you said, the injuries play a huge part of these odds. Yeah. But I think you even said last week on the show, if C.J. Stroud goes down and Davis Mills plays most of the season, that team still could win the division. Yeah, seriously. So that's where I'm not really too worried about injuries, and I think that at plus 110, there's great value there. I think the Colts aren't looking too hot coming into the year with the injuries they have at quarterback. The Jaguars are due for regression, I think, after a big season last year. And while the Titans have made some strides and are going to be a much better team, I don't think that they're really in contention yet. Getting the Texans at plus money I like a lot.
Yeah, good value for sure.
I have the Cowboys at plus 235. That's something that we talked about last week too on our ranking show. I think we both really like the Cowboys. I think that they're a sneaky good team. Their defense is improved, and if they can stay healthy, they could make a run at it. And I have the Bucks at plus 165. I talked about them winning the division last week as well. I think that they have an easier schedule based upon their finishing in the division. And I think that they just have a lot to prove. I think a healthy Baker, a healthy offensive line, hopefully a healthy Igbuka, some of the additions they made on defense. And I think that division is just wide open. They are the favorite to win it. I think the Saints were plus 2 something as well. I would consider them too, but I think I just really like the value on Cowboys and Bucks specifically.
Yeah.
And then the last one I have written down is just Rams even money. I think that's a great bet.
For sure.
I'll put that on. I'll sprinkle that in everyone. The Seahawks are plus 200. The Niners are plus 300, and then the Cardinals are plus 8 million or something. Yeah. It's just I don't really see the Rams not winning that division, to be honest with you. The Seahawks will put up a fight, and the Seahawks are a great team, but that I just cannot overstate enough the addition of Myles Garrett on an already superstar-loaded team.
For sure, and I couldn't agree more. The Rams are an easy walk away, but personally, in last week's rankings and even just kind of going into the season, I feel pretty good about putting San Francisco ahead of Seattle. So even just amongst other people who are into the league, the fact that there's even a question about who's 2 is enough to make it really good value for number 1, because there's really no question about who's number 1 in that division, in my opinion. Totally agree that the Cowboys are good value too at plus 20,
plus 235. Yeah, I like that.
I had them winning my division. I don't know if I would lock that in personally yet, because like I mentioned, waiting a little bit. But the plays that I do have that I locked in about a month and a half ago, and I think we first kind of touched on some of these division numbers, was I have the Bills and the Rams locked in together. And I got that at plus 260, so I imagine that's probably somewhere in the ballpark of what you can get it at today.
Sounds about right.
I think those lines were the same, honestly. And I took the Bears at 300. I think the Bears still are undervalued. I don't know if that line's changed too much. I can't imagine that it has. Nothing's really changed.
It is. I saw it earlier. I almost wrote it down. I just
too much Bears.
Not even too much Bears, because I'm never worried about anything like that. I mean, it's just. It's tough. What it really comes down to is I need to go look at everybody's schedules individually. They won that division by the skin of their teeth last year, and they'll be right there again. I just think that I would just imagine they play a tough schedule, and I imagine a Lions team coming back
They're going to be
with
tough.
An easier schedule.
For sure.
I'd have to really look into it a lot more. But plus 300 is great value. I mean, everybody in that division, I think the Lions are the favorite, and they're plus 190.
Yeah.
The Packers were plus 250, so it really is a toss up. It's kind of you could pick any one of those 3 really, and make a case.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you got next coming up here?
I mean, I've got a lot of stat leaders listed, which like I mentioned, it's something that I've been a little bit more interested in.
You got any Bleck stars?
I mean, the biggest Bleck star is super niche and kind of a end of episode throwaway.
All right, we'll save that.
The most important play of the day, for sure.
We can keep going down my mini notes list.
Yeah,
Bleck's got a side note and a full notebook here, and I have a fridge magnet piece of paper.
We're going with the fridge magnet.
I did throw in a couple. I already have 100 Bleck units in futures right now, and I'll probably put another 100 in because I love futures. And that's honestly, that's where I win the most. That's where I have, at least in the past, won the most is on futures.
Yeah.
I do have a passing touchdown parlay in that I put in maybe a month or so ago that I really liked a lot.
Yeah. I think I actually tailed this when you shared it.
Yeah. It's Josh Allen to have 25 passing touchdowns, Justin Herbert to have 25 passing touchdowns, Caleb Williams to have 25 passing touchdowns, and Tyler Shuck to have 20 passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
And it adds up to about, it was like plus like 1240. I just wrote down plus 1200, something like that roughly. But yeah, I mean, all guys that we talk about on this show a lot throughout the offseason.
For sure.
I mean, Josh Allen, self-explanatory.
Kind of expect all these numbers to smash, really.
Honestly, Herbert 25 with the Mike McDaniel's move there. Caleb going into year 3, year 2 of Ben Johnson to 25. And then Tyler Shuck, he's just, the books have been adjusting on him lately because I think people are starting to catch up. It's not necessarily so much the talent, but partially, yes, because he did play so well in the second half. But it's really just that Kellen Moore offense that he's in.
Yeah.
I saw a stat recently, something about like where Kellen Moore led offenses finished in pass attempts since he's been coaching, whether as an offensive coordinator or as a head coach now, and he's like his team's finished top 5 pretty much every single season. So I mean the moves they made on offense too, with bolstering the offensive line, adding Jordan Tyson, adding Bryce Lance, Travis Etienne. I really expect this team to throw the ball a lot.
Yeah.
And Tyler Shuck's line, it was 19.5, now it's up to 20.5, and even the over on 20.5 is like minus 125.
Yeah.
So I think that, again, that's just kind of where you're able to take advantage on these books. They're not accounting for some of these offensive philosophies and things like that. So yeah, that's one I really liked a lot. I put many Bleck units on that.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's a really low number. Juwan Johnson's proven that he can be a consistent, steady hand at tight end.
Yeah, Oscar Delp too.
Yeah, drafting Oscar Delp. As long as the receivers can stay somewhat healthy even. I mean, Olave's been a great receiver all the time when he's on the field.
And they made additions around Olave too, though.
Yeah.
Like last year, it's like Olave goes down,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden we're throwing to WLVL.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember that guy from the Patriots.
Couldn't
Yeah.
pull the name out of my head at the moment. But I mean, they add Jordan Tyson, they add Bryce Lance, who's a guy who will definitely bring up during the fantasy drafting season. So yeah, I think that's a pretty exciting.
Not to mention Etienne and Kamara.
For sure,
You know what I mean?
sure.
Like they got weapons all over. And like I
sure.
said, the offensive line, they added David Edwards from the Bills. That could be a big pickup too.
It's kind of funny. I mean, it's not exactly to be expected, but like I said, I listed out a lot of the stat leaders, and there's really no Saints to be found in like the top 10 of any of these lists. So didn't even have him on my radar, and he's one leg of your 4-leg parlay that has kind of piqued my interest in maybe checking some of those lines out a little bit later.
Yeah, I mean, even just me going through it earlier, I was interested to see. I think they had his passing total line at like 37 or something, which maybe doesn't sound that high, but when you look around, it's pretty high. They have him over a lot of guys that you would be shocked to see, I think.
What I like to do, I like to kind of look at some of those quarterback numbers and try to envision how that looks for that the wide receiver rooms.
Right.
All of a sudden, Olave hitting 1,000 yards seems a lot more realistic, and I'm sure.
He had like 1,200 last year.
Yeah, his line is minus to get to 1,000. It's probably minus 140 or 50 or something like that. But that'll definitely be something I take another look into. But I want to touch on Caleb Williams, who's also in that parlay. I don't know. I mean, obviously I tailed it, so the 25 touchdowns I'm in on, and I think a week or so ago he had you told me 24 last season?
I think he had 26, but yeah, something like that.
Okay. But one of the big icks about Bears quarterbacks is that they've never gone for 4,000 yards.
Right.
And I think that Caleb Williams has an awesome shot to do that this year.
He was close.
To get to 4,000 this year, his line is plus 200. And to get to 4,500, which would just kind of be ironically funny that the first time a Bears quarterback passes for over 4,000 yards, he really smashes it, that line comes out to plus 600. So they're not the craziest, long shots, but they're also kind of within the realm of possibility. I'm led to expect Williams has another step forward, and that should reflect in his stat sheet. Again, I haven't looked through their schedule either, but I don't know. It feels like something that I'm definitely going to want to tease a little bit.
I like 4,000 a lot, just because I do think that they want to break that, know, that. Yeah. It's something that's just kind of, it's always been a joke about the Bears. People talk about how they've never had a 4,000 yard passer. And like I said, he was really close last year. I could even see it getting if it's week 18 and he's got 39 or something like that, they're going to throw the ball a little more just to try to get there. You know what I mean?
Too. I mean, those records were standing on 16-game seasons.
I don't know. I don't know if I love the 44 necessarily. I think it could happen for sure.
45.
I do think that Ben Johnson, the bread and butter at the end of the day is going to be running the ball. They're one of the highest rushing teams in the league. They're going to pound the rock with Swift and Monangai.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I think he had like 38 last year, something around there. I know he was close because I actually had a 4,000-yard pass in milestone way. It's funny. I had Dak, Jared Goff, and Matthew Stafford and Caleb Williams, and the top three passers in the league were Dak, Stafford, and Jared Goff, and I just needed Caleb to get 4, and I would have hit so many Bleck units, but unfortunately he fell short. But I do like him to get there this year. I want to see him being the cover athlete on Madden, him being propped up to be the next potentially face of the NFL. I think the Bears want to get over that hump and break that stigma.
Yeah, keep it as a leg for one of your giant mega parlays.
Plus 200 is good juice. You throw that on there with some other guys like Dak and Jared Goff.
Herbert's. I mean, again in the parlay, Herbert's right in the same ballpark for 4,000 and 4,500 yards on the season at plus 200 and plus 550.
See, and I think that's really interesting too. When because Justin Herbert coming into the league, I think he threw a 5,000-yard season. Really close, like in his second year. You know what I mean? So he's been well over that number before at times in his career.
Going into a new season with a healthy hand, a healthy offensive line, a healthy Mike McDaniel.
And this is where the projections are too hard for the books, I think, because the past couple of years we've seen oh my goodness, what's his name, the offensive coordinator, Greg Roman offenses and Jim Harbaugh philosophies where they really just want to run the ball and play defense. Mike McDonald and Jesse Minter, and now we have a new mind in the offensive room with Mike McDaniel and the differences that they could shift on offense. When we look at what Mike McDaniels has done with some guys like Tua and Tyreek Hill, and Tua threw a 4,700-yard season or something like that. So, I think that I really do like that Justin Herbert won a lot, plus 200, 4,000. I think that's just that's a sharp play, and the books haven't really adjusted for what's to come for the Chargers offense this year, I believe.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's move on to the next one here.
I have a 1,000-yard milestone wide receiver parlay with 3 guys. 3 of my favorite wide receivers this offseason, going into this year. Guys we talked about a bunch on the show. If you followed, you could probably guess them, but it's Luther Burden, Zay Flowers, and Ladd McConkey, plus 1,500. I think that came out really well. All those guys have plus odds. I think Zay's like even money maybe.
Yeah, he's moved to even now.
Yeah, but I just think that all 3 guys are just in great situations, whether that's the new offensive scheme for the Ravens and Chargers, or if it's just a new role, stepping into a huge target role for someone like Luther Burden. I think all 3 of these guys could easily hit that number. The biggest thing is just going to be health, obviously. But even if these guys could play 15 games, I think they could all smash that number for sure. And all guys I'll be targeting in fantasy leagues as well.
Yeah, another one I'm very happy I tailed on. Just it feels like it's being undervalued right now. I think I might even go a little bit higher on McConkey. He's one of these guys that I kind of have eyed up for potential league leaders just on
when we talk about
a huge value standpoint.
Those McDaniels offenses and what Tua was able to do, and Tyreek Hill. I'm not saying he's Tyreek Hill, but even if he's Jalen Waddle, I mean, that could be a 1,300-yard season right there.
Yeah, but I mean, also he might be not Tyreek Hill, but he could be productive
for sure. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
I mean, he's definitely. I don't know if I mentioned it a while ago, but he's definitely like a dark horse to be like a 1,500, 1,600-yard receiver this year potentially.
Yeah,
just the way they can, he can play inside, outside, and I really just can't speak enough about the Mike McDaniels offenses and what they've been able to put together numbers wise.
Yeah, definitely some fun products.
Not always wins, but numbers wise, they do put up numbers.
Yeah,
and sure. Hopefully combining that with a coach like Jim Harbaugh and the defense, they'll be able to put some wins together.
Yeah. Move on from there.
Yeah. I mean, what other stat leaders do you have for receiving yards?
So for receiving yards, just a couple of those guys that were on the list.
You said that you kind of liked McConkey as a potential dark horse.
Yeah, so he's sitting at plus 5,000. $10 to win, $500.
Yeah, that's like a good cash out one.
Same with Flowers for that matter. Again, I wouldn't really expect either one of these guys to win it. Maybe I would expect Flowers or McConkey to even have more of a chance.
I think McConkey
in the
has
race
a chance
later in the
for
game.
Sure.
But Flowers is sitting at 4,500 as well, and super close to that number. Just super high upside, just opportunities.
Talking about Flowers?
Yeah. Again, not that I really expect Flowers to win it. I think that I don't really know what Lamar Jackson throws enough yards to really have the top.
I like McConkey more as a dark horse. I just think he has a higher ceiling. I think there is a world where Herbert gets close to 5,000 yards again, and McConkey has 1,500. You know what I mean? I think it's really possible.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's gonna happen, obviously, but I wouldn't be the craziest thing to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I was listening to the Fantasy Pros podcast, and they had a couple stat leaders bets that they were throwing out there. So I was really interested to hear one of the things that they pulled out, that over 2 of the last 3 years, the league leading passer was on the same team as the league leading receiver, and that's only happened twice outside of 2 of the last 3 years in the last 20 years. So it's something that hasn't happened a lot, has happened a lot in relativity recently. So with that in mind, Burrow and Chase have done it already. It seems like even though their prices aren't great to do it, I don't know if you can parlay the two, but it seems like something that I might be a little bit more interested than taking a look at
Puka.
Stafford, Puka. I mean, even St. Brown and Goff. Goff is relatively high on these lists too, as far as stat leaders go.
I was some Amon-Ra's lines are so high,
and it's crazy because of a lot of these guys. I mean, Puka has Devontae Adams, but he's more of a touchdown machine. I feel like I just like Jameson Williams more than the next guy, but I took Jameson Williams to have 1,000 yards last year, and he got to that mark. So I don't know. It does work well somehow in Detroit to have such high stat producers while still having the running back that is the ultimate stat producer. But yeah, the Lions team is a fun team to just kind of look around at some of their lines too, because they just they're always moving the ball.
Yeah, St. Brown plus 950 is definitely not a bad one. Looking down the rest of the list, Drake London plus 1,600. He doesn't really have any target competition. They could be throwing the ball a lot, and like I said, we've seen Tua put up big seasons before. We've seen Tua sustain a league-leading wide receiver before.
Yeah.
That's not a bad dark horse option. I see you got Flowers and McConkey there down at the bottom.
Yeah, I know we have a disdain for him too, but even the May and A.J. Brown stack, I think A.J. Brown's going to have an immense impact on Drake May's production this year. Very similar to the way that Diggs did in Buffalo, and it sucks to draw the parallel because we're sitting from that point 5 years later without a ring to show for it. But I'm a little bit fearful of what the Patriots are actually capable of.
Yeah,
Not that they'll win the division, but that they're capable of not going
Yeah, I can see
away.
that for sure. I definitely would agree with that. I like Justin Jefferson plus 1,400 too. I think that he's just due for a big bounce back season.
Definitely.
And I think you said that he could be potentially playing with the best quarterback he's played with.
Yeah.
And he's somebody that's already led the league in receiving before, so I think you're getting some good value there, to be honest. Moving on to just some few random guys I picked out before we touch on the rest of these stat leaders here.
Yeah.
I wrote down just a few over-unders. No milestone, just the lines for these players that I liked. Starting off with Emeka Egbuka at $8.99. I love that.
Yeah, that's a good line.
I mean, his first half of last season, he was looking to destroy that. And I think healthy, there's not really a lot of target competition. Mike Evans is gone.
Yeah.
We saw Baker throw for a big season a couple years ago. I think Egbuka could easily hit well over that. He's another guy that you could even sprinkle in at plus money on a 1,000-yard receiver milestone one. I think that's a really good one. This is one that I wasn't expecting to like so much, but I just saw it really caught my eye, is Mark Andrews.
No
524.5. He's hit that line every season of his career besides last year. Easily, really.
Yeah.
They lost Isaiah Likely. They lost Charlie Collier. They have Declan Doyle coming over. We talked about his offense, Sean Payton background. They love to throw to the tight ends. Lamar Jackson loves Mark Andrews. They just gave Mark Andrews a big new contract. I think we all think Mark Andrews is 35.
Yeah,
he's like 30. He's like 31.
I did not have the Mark Andrews prop on my bingo board for today.
Me neither, but I just don't,
That's
outside of Zay Flowers, who else are they really throwing the ball to? And like I said, he's hit this line almost every single season of his career besides last year. And last year he just missed it and he was injured.
Yeah.
And Isaiah Likely's gone. Charlie Collier's gone. He's going to be on the field pretty much every single play. In an offensive system that likes to utilize their tight ends, when you look at where Declan Doyle comes from, Ben Johnson with the tight ends. You look at where Ben Johnson comes from. In Detroit, you with Sam Laporta, and before that, New Orleans with Jimmy Graham and some of these guys. And we know Lamar Jackson loves Mark Andrews.
Yeah, it grosses me out how much it makes sense. It really does.
And they just gave him a big contract. I don't know why they did. I don't know why they let Isaiah Likely walk and gave Mark Andrews a big contract, but I just don't really see how, unless he misses a large portion of the season, I don't really see how he doesn't hit that number, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's super fair. I never would have guessed.
Yeah,
that
me
he even
neither.
had a line
I
out
was just
there.
scrolling through and I was just like, wow, I'm surprised it's so low, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And then I had to go double check. I'm like, maybe he doesn't really, no, he hits it every single year. It was crazy.
30 years old while you're at it.
Yeah.
While you're fact checking.
That's what
Not
I'm saying.
35.
Yeah, exactly. And then I got Parker Washington. I love Parker Washington. I can't really talk enough about him.
Yeah.
I'm trying to trade for him in every league I'm in. No one will give me Parker Washington. I don't know why. Just give me Parker Washington. But he's at 749.5. He was, I think, maybe was like second or third in the league the last like 5 weeks of last season in like receiving yards. He was just on a tear to end the year, and it showed up in the playoffs too. He had a big game against the Bills. He was the best player on that Jaguars offense. I think that he is primed for a big season. Liam King can't talk about him enough. The way they use him inside and outside. And like I said, it's really telling to see his line being higher than that of Brian Thomas and Jacoby Myers. I know that Vegas doesn't know what to do with those guys.
Yeah. I mean, with that being said, I did jot down the numbers for Parker Washington on yard milestones. They don't have touchdown milestones for him right now, but to hit 1,000 is at plus 250 or 240.
I love that.
Yeah,
I do.
That definitely feels like
That's great odds.
If he's got the highest lines of all the Jacksonville receivers, and I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence is going to throw for 4,000 yards even, but if he throws for 35 or 33 or something like that, I mean, there's a chance one of those guys gets to 1,000.
Yeah.
And it seems like he's the.
I just think
most
he's
likely.
in a position to command the most targets on that team.
Yeah.
And I think that I just think he's great. I think he's like watching him play last year. I remember there was points of last season while we were just going through the weeks.
Yeah.
We were just pick up Parker Washington because he was making insane catches. He was returning punts for touchdowns. It just seemed like every time he touched the ball, he was making plays happen. And then next thing you know, by the end of the season, he's getting 10, 12 targets. And going into the playoffs, he has a 100-yard game.
Yeah, it's funny. Like his impact is almost like the difference in making the playoffs or not for them because they had so many close games.
Yeah, it's really a combination of the role and the targets and just the player. I just think he's genuinely like a really talented player.
Yeah.
I love that line for him, and I think that he should hit that easily. Moving forward, I have Jaden Higgins, a second-year receiver. His line is 574.5.
Okay.
He finished last year with about 525 yards, I believe. And he didn't really play that much until the second half of the season.
I feel like that's like a surprisingly high total.
Yeah, I have him in a couple dynasty leagues, so he's somebody that I've been a little higher on.
Kind of waiting to start him, right?
Yeah, I mean, he showed some flashes in the second half of last year. Definitely was like a viable flex play. But yeah, just entering year 2, they added some help along the offensive line. I think that he's the clear number 2 receiver on the team. I know they drafted Jalen Noel as well, and Tank Dell is maybe going to be healthy this year. We don't know how that will go. Mm-hmm. Nico Collins is even a guy that's missed a few games here and there, and Jaden Higgins could step up in those absences if they do come. But either way, just somebody that really was 50 yards shy of this line last year and didn't really play over 50% of the snaps until week 10. I love that line for him. I probably wouldn't put him to be a 1,000-yard receiver, but I think he could easily get into like the 600, 700, 800-yard range comfortably. So I like that line a lot for him. And then staying with the Texans, I have 3 running backs here that I just love. David Montgomery first, 824.5. I don't think that they really are going to see a lot of competition in that backfield. Woody Marks is a good complementary player, and he showed some receiving chops, but I don't know how many carries he'll really get. And I totally expect David Montgomery to get all the early down work and the goal line work. They traded a 5th-round pick for him. They gave him a contract extension. I think this team, more than almost any other team at their best, just wants to run the ball and play defense.
For sure.
I think David Montgomery is super undervalued, whether that's on the books or in fantasy. I think David Montgomery is going to be a really good, strong RB2 this year.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
I remember Joe Mixon a couple years ago on that Texans team. I think people kind of forgot about him and nobody was really excited about him. And then he quietly put up like a 1,200-yard season on that Texans team.
Yeah.
And I would not be surprised if David Montgomery got close to those numbers. I would love him to hit for 1,000. I don't know
Yeah.
what his odds are. Just based on this number, I'd guess like plus 200 or something like that.
I do want to jump in on Montgomery because he's someone that I took a couple extra notes on. Instead of rushing yards for him though, like what did you say the line is 825?
824 and a half, yeah, 825.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect him to be the leading back. He's going to get the heavier workload, and Woody Marks will kind of facilitate as maybe a drive extender, hopefully.
Yeah, he's like a change of pace, third down guy. Yeah.
But Montgomery, 100% to get some of the red zone looks, or almost all of them, if not all of them. So to lead the league in touchdowns, I don't know if this is something I'm willing to sprinkle, but at plus 4,000 is a fun bet.
Yeah.
He's very much
like total touchdowns or rushing touchdowns?
Rushing touchdowns.
Okay.
To lead the league in rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Yeah. I don't know how often I really expect them to be in like tush push, like red zone situations like that. But that's how they're going to want to do it when they get there.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, that team's going to, more than anybody, run the ball, play defense. And
Yeah, but
I have a hard time thinking there's going to be many times where they're just down by like multiple scores and forced to throw the ball a bunch.
For sure. But he's definitely somebody that I'm going to want to take on a milestone prop. So his line at 10 touchdowns, which is probably where I'll go, is plus 175. If you wanted to get funky and crazy, that 12 touchdowns is plus 350 and 15 touchdowns is 800.
15 touchdowns?
Yeah, I don't love that for value. I don't think that's...
I think I'd rather just take the league leader at that point
exactly,
for 4,000.
Exactly. Even at 12 plus 350, like that's not going to lead the league either.
No.
But if you're going to be in the conversation of it, I still don't know if plus 350 is enough to get me there. But
I can see it. I could see 12.
Yeah.
I definitely could. I mean,
yeah, I would feel pretty safe with 10 though, and at plus money, I like that play a lot.
Exactly. I should have wrote down whatever his 1,000 was, but I mean, just at minus 110 over 824. I mean, you can't play that safe. I mean, you could put all these guys together, and I would feel pretty good about it.
Yeah.
And then I have Javonte Williams. He's a guy that's really grown on me the past couple weeks. His line is 949 and a half. I think he had like 1,200 last year or something like that.
He had a great year last year.
He got paid. He has no competition in the backfield. They're a team that's, they're going to spread you out. They got George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, Dak Prescott. They're a downfield aerial attacking team, but that bodes well for Javonte Williams whenever they want to, little change of pace. Yeah, and like I said, I don't really think he has any competition in the backfield. And just given his contract situation, I expect him to garner a pretty healthy workload. And, only issue with him is the injury, concerns. He was healthy last year for the first time in a long time, but I mean, as long as he can stay healthy, which he was able to do last year, I don't see why he doesn't easily hit over that number. He's another guy, too, that's like, I think that people maybe think he's a lot older than he is. He just turned 26 like a month ago.
Yeah.
He's in his prime. I know he had a couple of down seasons with the Broncos to start his career, mostly all injuries.
With Sean Payton, too.
Yeah.
Sean Payton's not a give it all to one guy.
Yeah. I like Javonte Williams a lot. I think he's a good value here and a good value in fantasy drafts as well at the moment.
Yeah, he's top 10 in odds to lead the league in rushing and lead the league in rushing touchdowns. So definitely a strong play there. It's not an egregious line. It's not a crazy line at all.
No, I think it's a good play. It's safe. And then Kenneth Walker, too. He could be a dark horse as well.
For sure.
And again, these are all three of these guys I like and targeted them because of not just the situations they're in, but the way their teams viewed them. All three of these guys were either traded for, like David Montgomery, or were picked up in free agency and paid. All these guys have big contracts or bigger contracts compared to some of these other guys, which almost guarantees them a full workload. And then when you look at the running backs behind them, there's very little competition. I'm not, this isn't DeAndre Swift where I'm like, I like the situation, but they have Kyle Monungai. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Even look at Kyron Williams. I love Kyron Williams. I love that offense. But, having like a Blake Corum
Blake Corum is enough, yeah.
It's like, it's just, it could eat enough away that it makes it a little bit more of a question. I don't see that with any of these guys, really. Kenneth Walker's line is 924. I don't know what he did last year, but after that playoffs and after the contract he got, and just the way I see the Chiefs set up this season, and he might have the least competition of any of these guys, and he has the biggest contract of any of these guys, and he might be the most talented and explosive of any of these guys. I love Kenneth Walker here. He should easily get to 1,000 yards, and I don't know if you have him down on your rushing leaders list, but he's a good dark horse in my opinion.
Oddly enough, he's not on the rushing leaders list, but I do have him as one of my just middle of the road 1,000-yard rusher milestone guys, and his 1,000 yards is at plus 110. I think that's super fair, super healthy. A little bit of juice. It's almost the same line, kind of.
Where do you find this at?
This one's right here at the bottom.
I
This
see
is
here.
one of those hidden notes.
Interesting. 1,000-yard rushers.
Yeah, 1,000-yard rusher. Kenneth Walker at plus 110. I think Breece Hall has a decent look at it at plus 125, and Omarion Hampton at plus 105 as well. Yeah, I just think that all those guys, those are modest lines. Those are pretty safe floors, I think, for all of them. Even Breece Hall in an offense that we don't necessarily expect to go crazy. They should be better than last year, though. Like
they definitely should be.
He put up 1,000 yards last year.
I think we've said it multiple times on here, but like if you like look at the Jets' offense on paper and just like don't look at Geno Smith, like everything else like looks pretty good.
Yeah,
they have like a good offensive line. The wide receivers are all of a sudden pretty solid. They have a nice tight end duo. The running back room is deep. I mean, even after Breece Hall, Braylon Allen's a good player, and sure. Isaiah Davis even in his own right as well.
For sure.
So yeah, I don't know if I love Breece Hall, like just because I don't know how much they're gonna be running the ball. I mean, they will be better and more competent offensively, but I prefer guys in situations where I think they're gonna play with the lead a little more often and run the ball, and and again, like I said too. He just has a little more competition in his backfield as well, I would say, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know how much Braylon Allen or Isaiah Davis eat into his touches individually, but combined enough, in my opinion, especially just given Breece Hall's injury history as well.
Yeah. No, that's super fair.
Yeah. I see who else you got down there for rushing touchdowns? I see you got Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, so I listed out a couple different players that I feel like are worth highlighting, and their lines at different tiers of rushing touchdowns, receiving yards, a couple things here. But yeah, so I have Taylor Montgomery and Omarion Hampton listed at 10, 12, and 15. Taylor is a pretty big favorite. So on the season, he's plus 600 to lead the league in rushing touchdowns. It's kind of just...
He's what, to lead the league in rushing yards?
To lead the league in rushing touchdowns, he's plus 600. Okay. And for him to get to 12 rushing touchdowns is plus 105. So really kind of what I wanted to make my point on is I'm more comfortable taking the floor that just seems more realistic. So if he's going to be competing for the league lead in rushing touchdowns, which I totally expect him to, I would rather just take him to score 12 touchdowns because that's probably where you have to be in the ballpark of to compete for that lead.
12 touchdowns in the first 10 weeks last year.
He had 3 touchdown. He had like 4 or 5 3-touchdown games, which there alone is enough to get you there. But even to get to 15 touchdowns, which again, at that point, maybe if I think he's going to get to 15 touchdowns, probably just want to take him at plus 600 to lead the league. Mm-hmm. It's plus 250 to take him at 15. So just kind of illustrating the idea of where are you more comfortable with, like, are you trying to reach the ceiling or are you betting on a floor? And I think that 12 rushing touchdowns for Jonathan Taylor at plus 105 is a pretty healthy floor to add in a leg to get some extra juice. I don't know if I'd really care to make that bet straight.
Yeah, I get that. You string together a few plus money, even money guys, and all of a sudden you're looking pretty good and feeling pretty confident about that. Yeah,
and Hampton is another guy that I feel like I would be comfortable betting on the floor of a 10-touchdown season.
Plus 175?
At plus 175 for Omarion Hampton. I mean, we saw what Mike McDaniel did with Devon Achane with way less of a support.
Raheem Mostert have like a 20 touchdown season?
Yes, and the supporting cast is dramatically lopsided for Omarion Hampton if you're going to compare the two. And honestly, I don't really think that I think that much more highly of Devon Achane than I do Omarion Hampton. If anything, I'm going to want to argue that Hampton's a better prospect, a better running back. And yeah, I don't know. That's not even like trash in Miami. That's really just like Miami couldn't get it together, but
that's fair.
This coordinator found a way to make the running back work. So yeah, I'm probably going to do a lot of hammering on Hampton in some of these prop bets.
It'll be interesting to see Achane with a season away from Mike McDaniels for sure.
Yeah, I can't believe I don't have Hampton like on the rushing yards leader list or the rushing touchdowns leader list. Like it's just he's nowhere to be respected in on the books going into the season.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be like. I don't know. There could be a multitude of reasons. So, I mean, injury one. Yeah. A lot of projections here too. Obviously, offensive philosophy shifts, like we talked about. They might get away from run and start throwing the ball a little
Might
more.
be afraid of Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah, Keaton Mitchell, man. I mean, I like Keaton Mitchell as like a sleeper in fantasy. I have some shares of him in some dynasty leagues.
We'll chop this up and make it a clip, but I'm not scared of Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm worried about him like taking away from Hampton too much, but I just think he could carve out his own role and be useful enough. He's just an explosive player, and I think that they targeted him for a reason. But yeah, getting off track a little bit. Looking at your passing yards leader, though, anybody there that jumps out to you?
Yeah, so I jotted down a few names.
Were the Bleck Stars?
They're not. I don't see Black Stars.
I know. Why is there no
No,
stars?
yeah, I should have put a little more time in throwing some stars around. But yeah, I looked at the top players. This is really similar to what I just mentioned about Jonathan Taylor and the rushing touchdowns. The top 4 passing yard favorites to lead the league are Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, Dak Prescott, and Matt Stafford. And for all of these players to throw 4,500 yards, it's plus 200 or a little juicier. So I'm here to advocate that if you feel like, even like a hunch that one of these guys have a good look at it, just a way to hedge it instead of throwing all your eggs against the other 3, just take a safer play and take one of them to get to 4,500 yards. I mean, Goff is the favorite at plus 250, but Burrow, Stafford, and Prescott are all sitting at plus 250. Goff is at 210. But
Where are you getting these numbers?
right over here,
Okay.
4,500 yards. I know it's all over the place today.
I see.
I should go back to calling in.
No, you're good. I was like looking all over for that.
They're all like super health dependent, obviously, but a healthy season to Burrow is going to smash 4,500 yards.
Yeah, for sure. They're going to throw the ball a bunch no matter what.
A healthy season out of Matt Stafford is also going to smash 4,500
Yeah,
yards.
I like the Stafford one.
I mean, these guys are guys that we think about going to 5, like, often.
I would take Stafford or Prescott to lead. Yeah, I don't know. Any of those 3 guys. I just can't trust Burrow enough. It's just
For those guys to lead the league in passing yards, they're all like 750, and Matt Stafford.
if I had to pick one,
But that's the point. Like I would rather not throw all the eggs in one basket unless sprinkling the deeper dives is kind of where I think I want to be.
Yeah, if I had to pick one of these later, I like that Tyler Shuck is 9th.
Oh, on passing yards?
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, it's like, I was really surprised by the respect the books were giving Tyler Shuck. I don't know if it's respect or they just don't know what to do and they're playing it safe. I really don't know. But yeah, that's the most interesting one for sure.
One of the more curious looks on these leaders list for me was Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's 5th in most likely to lead the league in passing touchdowns, and that's at plus 1,100. I'm more interested in what that means for the receivers, because we've talked about, I'm not even going to go Ricky Pearsall here, although you very well could. But we're expecting a downtick from Christian McCaffrey if he can make it through a healthy season. We know George Kittle is at the very least a couple years older than Mark Andrews now. Where is Mike Evans on the touchdown leader list?
Yeah.
Sitting at plus 3,000,
I mean, they just throw touchdowns to like everybody.
They do, but they haven't had a Mike Evans.
Gonna get some. Yeah, no, I hear you.
I can see a very clear pathway if things don't go awry with whatever radioactivity is going on in the area.
It's electromagnetic activity.
Sorry, that Mike Evans could very easily have a Devontae Adams here, where he's just all over the goal line. They have the guys to bring them to the red zone all the time.
For sure.
So yeah, I even have Mike Evans at 8, 10, 12, and 15 touchdowns. Obviously, if his odds are longer to get to 15 touchdowns than he is to lead the league, which honestly could be the number he needs to get to lead the league. So I don't know what you want to do with that. But
his odds are longer to lead the league?
No. So he's plus 3,500 to get to 15 touchdowns. He's plus 3,000 to lead the league in passing touchdowns.
Got you. Receiving, got you.
But Mike Evans to get to double-digit touchdowns is plus 500, and I feel pretty comfortable with that for being as long of odds as it is.
I love that for plus 500.
I mean, even 2 more is plus 1,100. If he gets to 12, it's plus 1,100.
Oh, man, that's substation.
Yeah, it's a little too much juice.
I don't know.
Something a little fishy about it. But the whole point I want to bring it back to it. Like, Brock Purdy being a top 5, odds in passing touchdowns, and those numbers don't make sense when you look at Mike Evans. what the books are expecting out of him.
I mean,
So,
I guess like Christian McCaffrey's gonna catch you know,
if he's healthy and
yeah,
if he's
Kyle
as proficient,
Juszczyk and
Juszczyk's good for one max.
1 or 2.
I can't wait. We'll have our own side.
Jake Tonjes,
Tonjes will score if Kittle misses.
I just think Kyle Shanahan's just really creative, and they
I
find
agree.
different ways. You know what I mean?
I
And,
disagree.
he floats in the 30s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In his healthy season, so
For
I
sure.
think that's kind of where maybe that comes in. I definitely wouldn't have him. Like it would take some injuries for some of those top guys for him to lead the league. I think.
Right, but even
Maybe Brock Purdy's got a chip on his shoulder. You know, everyone's doubting him after Mac Jones came in.
Sick of everybody talking about the electromagnetic station.
He's sick about Mac Jones. Everybody's talking about Mac Jones this offseason. And Brock Purdy needs his respect. I get it. I think Brock Purdy's awesome. And then I know you have one other thing on your extras list written down.
I have my super hot must hammer 20 Bleck unit whale.
It's a fast future, 20 Bleck units.
Yeah, no, I don't know about how many units, but so it's a fast future. It's super niche bet. And I'm only bringing it up because I feel so strongly about it that I very much encourage you, even though if it doesn't work out, you can't come for me.
I'll tell, bro.
It's the league leader in rushing for the first 3 weeks, and the player is Amarian Hampton at plus 2,000.
Big Hampton guy.
Yeah, definitely a big Hampton guy.
Fair.
But the schedule just lines up way too well. In the first 3 weeks, he plays Arizona, Las Vegas, and Buffalo. And as much as we love Buffalo, they had the 30th rushing defense last year.
Definitely.
We have a new D
I was
coordinator.
starting Sean Tucker versus the Bills defense last year.
Smacking. Vegas, who has made improvements, but I don't respect enough defensively to be afraid of this. And Arizona, who might give up 200 yards to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even about like their defense, which isn't great. It's just more so that you kind of expect the Chargers to be winning those games kind of easily, or hopefully. Maybe, who knows? Maybe there'll be some like early season adjustments, new offense. But yeah, I mean, regardless, they should be winning those games. At least the Arizona and Vegas games pretty handily, which would lead to some big second half rushing numbers. And for only the first 3 weeks and plus 2,000, I like that a lot.
The juice is nuts. Might put in a second ticket just to cash out and like break even no matter what.
Cashing out before the Bills game.
Yeah. If I have 2 tickets, then yeah, why not?
I like that.
Why not?
It's fun looking over all these numbers and just trying to just understand what they even mean and where they came from, and then just using them to decide all these other things, whether it's in fantasy or real world aspects. It's crazy how much sports books have really infiltrated the mainstream sports world, and how much they're talked about nowadays, and how much impact they have on just any random game of the week or any sport really. It's a lot of fun, but just save your Bleck units.
Be responsible.
Gamble responsibly. Yeah.
It's not my fault.
Don't put too much on Parker Washington and Omarion Hampton now. As always, thanks for listening, and go Bills.
Go Bills.